Well, England have announced their playing 11 for the Oval Test against India, and guess what? There's not only one change, but two, three. There are as many as four changes that the home team have made for the final test against the Indian cricket team here. And the biggest blow that England have suffered ahead of the Oval Test is that Ben Stokes, their captain, is going to miss out due to a shoulder injury, and in his absence, Ollie Pope is going to be the captain of England here. So that's one of the changes that England have had. Apart from that, also missing out would be Liam Dawson, the spinner, who earlier made his return to Test cricket in the Manchester Test after a gap of as many as 4 years. Then Jofra Archer and Bryden Cass are also missing out. In their places, there is Jacob Bethel, who will bat at number 6. There is Gus Atkinson, who is also going to make a comeback after an injury. There is Jamie Overton, and also coming back into the side is going to be Joshua Tongue, who earlier played in the first couple of Test matches. So, Harshit, first thoughts?
Well, this is big, and this changes things up if you ask me for the fifth test match, and potentially now for India as well. This becomes a huge chance now. A full-fledged England side which had Jofra Archer for the last couple of test matches, which had a fully fit Ben Stokes as well. He bent his back, he bowled those 19.2 overs in Lords, and he was again very good in Manchester as well, as we saw him pick all those wickets. With two big bowlers not being there, Ben Stokes, the captain, not being there, and Ollie Pope being given charge. Gus Atkinson coming into the side, not having played a single test match before this. A Bethel coming into the side, having had no experience at all in this over the course of the last 2 months of test match cricket in this series, having no clue about the opposition. I think this is a massive up for the Indian team, and this now gives India a very big chance. India too will have to force changes in this final match. Jasprit Bumrah, as we know, will not perhaps be there, so you're looking at a return of an Akashdeep, as well as hopefully a Prasidh Krishna as well. How is it that India then make their bowling department look is something we can talk about later. But for England to have undergone these four changes, this is massive. And an Ollie Pope who's been up and down in this series, form is a bit of a concern. There is constant pressure from the English media on Ollie Pope as well. How is it that he reacts given this massive duty now? I don't quite know how England now cope with this. Very, I would say, gutsy on their part to stick with the tradition of announcing their 11 on the eve of the match. They've done so again, despite being the team that has had more forced changes than the Indian team. But this, I think, is splendid news for India. Where does this take the test match is something we will talk about. But I want you to throw some light, Gulati, on the fact that you don't see that specialist spinner. There were talks immediately in the British circles that Liam Dawson is going to be that person who's going to be going for the Ashes.
Yeah.
But he's not even playing at the Oval now in this final test match. When you look at that bowling department, what is it that you see? And what does it then mean for India? Does that shut the door for somebody like a Kuldeep Yadav even more?
Yeah. So let me just take you through the playing 11 before we dive more into the question that Harshit has asked. Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett as your incumbent openers. Ollie Pope at number 3. The captain now, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Jacob Bethel at number 6. He replaces Ben Stokes. Jamie Smith at number 7. The keeper, Chris Wokes, keeps his place. Gus Atkinson, Jamie Overton, and Josh Tongue. So a couple of things that I can make out, and obviously one of the things is going to be a takeaway from the question that you have asked. So one of the things that Ben Stokes had mentioned in the post-match press conference of the Manchester Test was that we would need some fresh legs for the Oval Test, because it's been a big series, it's been a long series against India. So you would need someone who has those fresh legs, who is pretty much prepared after not really having that much of a grind that someone like Jofra Archer and other bowlers had, someone like a Bryden Cass. So just from that perspective, the inclusion of Gus Atkinson, Jamie Overton, and Joshua Tongue, it makes sense. And secondly, coming back to the point that Harshit had mentioned, I think one thing is for sure now, and I don't think it would require any intelligence to even answer this thing, that it is going to be a green deck at the Oval. With England not really fielding any spinner, there's a very good chance that it is going to be a green deck.
You speak of a green deck. We saw that image yesterday at the dugout together. We're yet to get the fresh image for today though. But so you're saying green deck. Remember, we'd seen T-1, T-2 images of all pitches in the lead up, Lords gave us a feeling that perhaps there could be some grass left. Even the first test match at Leeds give you a feeling that there could be some grass left. It didn't happen in Manchester. It didn't happen at Lords. The first two test matches, in fact, presented the flattest of decks. What makes you now believe, given the make of the England side, that perhaps for the first time in the series you'll see some grass left on the track? Is it just the 11?
Yeah, I think in case of England, one of the things that they have really persisted with, irrespective of the conditions, before the Oval Test was that, whatever be the conditions, even if it's a green deck or what, we are going to have one spinner. Earlier,
Yes.
it used to be Jack Leach. Then after that, it was Shoaib Bashir now. And when Bashir got injured, they had to recall Liam Dawson. I think they're just going all out with this kind of an approach. If it is really meant to be a green deck, at the Oval, I don't see it, even a 5-day contest, for that matter. I think it's probably going to be a 3 or a 4 day, because England, they know that they are actually going all out with this kind of an approach, and that's how they can probably take that 3-1 series lead. But then let's just go back to India's bowling also. With or without Bumrah, this bowling attack is pretty much capable enough to destroy any of the opposition batting.
The only match that you won in this series happened without a Bumrah. So
Yeah,
clearly things
absolutely.
can be done. Jasprit Bumrah is not going to be there. That's something we've already told you here on Sports Today. But since so many of you have questions at the moment and are joining us right now, we've seen the volume increase. Let's just quickly come to what exactly is it that brings us live right now and give you all the fresh details beyond what you see on the screen in our title. So it's not just Ben Stokes, and he's not the only change that England are going with. There's 4 changes in totality that England have announced. They've already announced their playing 11. There is going to be no Ben Stokes, there is no Jofra Archers, there's no Bryden Cars, and there is no Liam Dawson. He only played in the previous match. Remember, a lot of conversation. He was impressive, if you ask me, with the discipline that he was bowling with. But this is a big up for the Indian team. Huge boost. The fact that you don't have a Ben Stokes, who's been England's star performer with the ball. You don't have a Jasprit Bumrah as well, as so many of you have pointed out. I just saw a comment there from Dex and Sarat Chandra Yalamarthi as well. So many of you saying that this is now an even contest. Perhaps it is that even contest now. So the best bowlers taken out of the equation. It's a new bowling attack that both teams will have to field. Perhaps for India, you could say it'd be the same as you'd seen or closer to the lineup that you fielded in Lords. However, now it is really interesting. How is it that the two teams have a go at each other? In come a Bethel, who's not played against India in this series. In comes
Josh Tang,
Josh Tang, who played in the first
Jamie Overton.
match. Jamie Overton, and there is Gus Atkinson as well. Watch out for his pace. Gus Atkinson was believed to be one of the bowlers who will be unleashed at the Indian team in Lords, but that didn't happen despite him having a very good record over
Yeah.
there.
So let's just maybe take a couple of comments before we just wrap things up. Levis Tract is asking Mark Wood. Well, he's still injured, not fully fit. I think they are probably preserving him for the Ashes. That's going to be another important series for England. Sarat Chandra is asking, can England bat in tough conditions? I think it's going to be a challenge because, like I said, with or without Bumrah, this Indian attack is potent enough to, get the better of any opposition.
Okay, one more thing. We'll be failing in our duty if we didn't tell you why exactly is it that Ben Stokes misses out. It's a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
I want to take you guys back, in fact, to the time. Remember in that in the previous match where I think it was the pair of Sundar and Jadeja who were batting at the time, and you saw him clutch his shoulder. He went ahead and he clutched exactly in this part, and you could feel that maybe he's bending his back a little more. He's trying to extract a little too much out of the wicket. So this development takes me back to that particular time, that perhaps he was nursing something from that time. In fact, if you go back to Lords, we'd seen him clutch his thigh as well, and there were doubts whether he'll be playing in the Manchester Test match, but Ben Stokes did turn up for the Manchester Test match. However, now Ben Stokes has run out of steam. Credit to him for whatever he's done in this series. I think he's had a very fruitful and a very good series as more as a bowler, more as a captain than as a batter, but he'd be mighty happy with the fact that he got that 100. He got a 33 in all three matches to begin with, and yeah, he got those starts as well. His contribution in Lords was particularly very pivotal, but his series has come to an end. His series has now been cut short. Over to the comments now.
Yeah. So Priyanshu, just a few more comments. Priyanshu is saying that India won't get a better chance to draw level in the series. Stokes, Archer both out, and I think in a way it makes sense to not have Archer because he just came back from an injury, multiple injuries in fact, returned to the Test team after 4 years. So to have him for 3 matches on the trot, it did not really make sense. Sarat Chandra also says that's interesting, and now it's an equal thing, and. I think he's also asking about Bumrah, Nigel or rest. Well, Bumrah is going to miss out on the Oval Test. That's one thing that's pretty much confirmed. And yeah, that's about it. So that's the thing, that's the latest update that we have for you. England have announced they're playing 11 for Oval Test. Let me just, spell it out for you again. Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope, the captain, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Jacob Bethel comes into the side, Jamie Smith, keeper, Chris Wokes, Gus Atkinson makes a comeback, and so do Jamie Overton and Josh Tongue. So no Ben Stokes due to a shoulder injury, and by the looks of it, Bryden Cast and Jofra Archer have been rested so that they can have more fresh legs for this all-important test in which England would have a chance to win the series 3-1. So what do you think about all the changes that England have made for this test? So apart from Ben Stokes, do you really think that England have pressed the panic button, or maybe they have done the right thing knowing that it's already been a long series? Tell us your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.